Do you think that AI is really going to play a part in allowing people to use more of those programs? Because I see that in the near future, the world's going to look a lot different, including the mortgage industry. And I think that one of the changes that we're going to see is that if somebody inputs, the information on their client, and AI gives you all the options in the loan programs that we have, and then tells you, and you can do any of these, but if you improve their credit score 5 points or something, they could also do this, and it tells you the best loan scenario, because there's only so much time in the day, and we're always rolling out new programs, but do people really stop and utilize them?
We get hundreds of locks a month that come in on a program where it's like, did you know we have this program you could have locked that on because the rate's a lot better and there's less documentation or whatever the case may be. Yeah, there's no question. And AI is already starting to do that. We have a huge AI project that we're working on, but even things we have right now, we use Poly as our pricing engine, and Poly now has some AI built into it, and they're going to be rolling out quite a bit more where it will identify those near misses and say, you could have locked on this program if your LTV was 1% lower, maybe instead of 71, do a 70, and you could do this. Or like you said, completely different program that people didn't consider, non-QM's a huge one, especially when it comes to second homes and investment properties, things that have large loan level price adjustments with the agencies, but people are so used to pricing them with the agencies. And it's like, you got to look at the jumbo and the non-QM investors. Some of these non-QM lenders or even jumbo lenders will actually do loans that are much lower loan amounts. They don't need to be a jumbo in order to utilize them. And so it's things like that, I think AI will help loan officers identify programs that might be available to them. And one of the drawbacks of having so many products and programs is it's nearly impossible to keep up on all of them. Some really good loan officers obviously read every news break and everything that comes out. And then certainly people specialize in certain niche type products. There's no question. But for the average loan officer out there to be able to find that needle in the haystack, AI will definitely be a tool. We're using it in a small degree. I expect by the end of this year, you'll see it in a pretty significant role in helping to identify programs.
At the end of the day, finding the program is not the value of the loan officer necessarily. And I think that what that's going to do is make us such better consumer advocates in order to, really be able to suss out what's the best product for you and to speak to that, intelligently. I think that's important. But it circles us right back to that conversation that we started on, is that relationship. And there's no AI out there that's going to be able to take the place of a loan officer on the phone with the client, walking them through the process, of the real estate agent telling them these are the steps you're going to go through. You have to have, I know you've bought a lot of houses in your day, right?
Turns out.
Yeah. At what point did you understand the process fully that you didn't need somebody to tell you what was next? Or, it was probably a few, right?
Right.
So somebody that's bought one house and then 20 years later they buy another one, and the system's completely different. They're always going to need people. They're always going to need real estate agents, and they need loan officers to explain to them how to use their money. There's lots of statistics out there that tell you that it's really is kind of the top 1% to 3% of people that are involved in the stock market, investing and things like that. There's more people are average Americans that have a job and, buy a house and pay their mortgage, and they have a car, and, they go on vacation once every 2 years, and that's great. And so they're not going to understand all the ins and outs of the best way to utilize a mortgage for what it is that they want to accomplish.
Yeah.
Walking them through that is going to be something that human connection is always going to be there. I don't see how it's going away. I hear robots are coming. I've watched, I've involuntarily watched a lot of YouTube videos about it because my husband, he's into that kind of thing. I'm guessing you probably are too. And so, but I don't think it's ever going to completely take over.
Yeah, look, I think that not only is the relationships important in order to meet new customers. There's no question about that. I think that clients customers like someone that they can reach out to and that can give them a level of comfort about what's happening. And like you said, let them know about the steps that are happening along the way. I think there's some ways you can automate that and leverage technology. I think the younger generation is more comfortable utilizing that technology. So it's really important that you have the technology. But to me, this is like, it's like a marriage between the human relationship and the technology. The technology needs to make it easy to access the information at all hours of the day in a very easy way, in a mobile friendly way. Yep. But nothing's going to completely replace the counsel that's needed from a person, and the confidence and just the reassurance, when you need help with something. And so I think that gives me a lot of confidence that, we're here to stay, although we need to be willing to adapt. Yep. And we need to be willing to embrace the technology that's available and not be worried that it's going to replace us, but figure out how do we use that to enhance the relationship. And those are loan officers that I think are going to do really well. I'm not worried about it. There's enough. If you use AI enough, as beautiful as it is for so many things, it can be so stupid at other things, know, and I still can't get it to draw a picture that doesn't have like 6 fingers or something, it's like, so there's definitely, it's getting better. Don't get me wrong.
These young kids, at here, one of the things that I think is really cool about our company is that we've got a lot of women leaders at New American Funding, and we've got a lot of millennials that work here. And, these young people are getting out of college and getting to mortgage or getting into real estate, and they bring a totally different approach, right? They're, they got the podcast, and they've got, they're out there and they're having events and parties and different, different ways.
You can be a middle-aged guy and have a podcast, right?
Yeah. But they're doing it, to generate business and buzz, right?
Right.
And Market Shares is a really great podcast for somebody that wants to get into the industry, especially if they want to understand the full scope of it, because you have a lot of unique, you bring the real estate side into your podcast more than a lot of mortgage podcasts do. A lot of them just talk about the mortgage industry. But it's fun to watch young people getting into the industry and seeing what they're doing. And we have to follow their lead, because what they want in their businesses is really what we have to be able to deliver. So, we have in India, New American Funding owns a technology company.
Right.
I don't know any other companies that do. I've talked to people about it, other loan officers at other companies, and nobody's ever said that they have that. And so, what is that going to manifest into over the course of the next years as technology is really moving fast?
Yeah.
It moved fast, for a while. It moved pretty fast for a while, but I think the next 10 years is going to be mind-blowing.
Oh, yeah. It's accelerating quickly. I think we've made a lot of the right
we have to figure out how we're going to do loans on Mars, apparently.
Well, hey.
Right?
Hey, if that product rolls out, we're getting it.
I know. Would that be fun?
There's no question. Yeah.
Would that be fun?
I don't want to be one of the first people to Mars, because I don't know if those people are coming back. Chances are probably not. It's probably like a one-way ticket to Mars, I'm thinking, at least for a while.
Yeah. Well, someone's going to go. It'll be interesting to see.
This is quickly going in the direction of a Joe Rogan podcast. We should probably bring it back.